The Biden White House is not happy with Hunter's latest con. The first son reportedly wants to set up a legal defense fund. You heard that right. That would help pay for his high-priced lawyers. Yep, that's right. Somewhere out there, a former crack-addicted first son is crying out for help and struggling to pay his monthly child support. Operators are standing by. Won't you please consider a donation? High-level Democrats are obviously freaking out, man, especially if contributions come from foreign entities. The next stop on the Hunter Headache Express is the intelligence community. Emails show ex-CIA Chief Mike Morrell worked overtime recruiting his intel buddies to sign off on that now infamous letter discrediting Hunter Biden's laptop. The goal of the letter was to give Joe Biden a talking point for the debate. And, of course, he used it.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
Man.
He's a liar. What did you make of some of the communication between former CIA Mike Morrell and another former CIA
This is the smoking gun that the media desperately wanted so badly with Trump and never got. And now you have the smoking gun. This is not smoke. This is the gun. And it's like the media is like, I mean, they're wearing their bias on their sleeve. They would have taken less of this from Trump. And this is actually what matters, not Hunter's sexomania. This is a deep state corruption that makes Watergate look like a water slide. You can't trust any signed letters from intelligence again, even if it's about important stuff like AI, fentanyl, or China. If they had signed a petition to bring 24 back, then it would have been okay. But this is wrong. This is wrong. This email is a big revelation, and it wasn't the work of investigative reporters, of the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalists of the Washington Post. And those people aren't even interested in basically the fact that the deep state manipulated the press out in the open to change an election. A soft coup, if you will.
How is that not election interference?
It's worse than that.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. But obviously, you're watching this with some excitement because you are planning on donating to Hunter's legal defense fund,
I already
correct?
did. Yeah, I maxed out. That's a question I'd have for the judge. If you have a legal defense fund, can you rate it and spend it on whatever you want? Because this is better than the painting scam.
Yeah.
The painting scam was pretty next level. You got to give him credit, especially with the anonymous purchases. But now you set up a legal defense fund, you can take that money and do anything you want with it. He can get escorts with it. He could pay child support with it. He could buy a house in Malibu with it. There's no one to account for that kind of money. So this is just another Hunter Biden scam that the media is going to say, oh, the guy needs help. Where did the diamond go? He pawned it and then did what with the cash? Where did the Burisma money go? And Joe Biden himself is worth $8 million. He took out a line of credit on his house for $250,000 last month. Where did that money go? And we know that the sugar brother, who paid off the $2 million in the back taxes, is now hiding Hunter's assets. He took the 10% stake in the Chinese company, and he said, that's mine now, so Hunter doesn't have any exposure to it. And the woman down in Arkansas can't touch it. This is good. It's good. I'll give him credit. It's good.
I'll tell you what, she touched it plenty. So, Judge, let's talk about some of those ethical concerns that Jesse raises. There have to be people within the Biden administration who are worried about the optics of a legal defense fund. But, he has been generating money for a long, long time.
You know what? It was during the Obama administration that Obama's people were worried about the optics of Hunter going with his father, where we now know he collected $1.5 billion from the Chinese for whatever company he had at that point. But considering that this legal defense fund, it is so sanctimonious, it is so stunning that this guy, who literally has compromised just about every agency in our government. First of all, he's compromised the intel agencies. We just saw them getting together. He also compromised an election because people say, had they known about the laptop, they might have voted differently. He compromised the Secret Service, who found a gun in a garbage can, that gun that he got with a pistol permit application that he lied on. He's compromised the DOJ, that's taken 5 years to figure out whether or not they can indict him on charges that I could sit here during the next 10 minutes and do an indictment myself, okay? And he's compromised the president of the United States, who has made questionable decisions regarding policy from countries where he's gotten money. This kid is such a dirtbag. He is such an anchor. He is such a deadbeat on not just his father, but on the country. And for him to actually have a legal defense fund is just outrageous. It's stunning. And, you know, when you think about it, I said to myself, you know, when they had GoFundMe on some of the websites for GoFundMe fundraisers, they were shut down for conservatives. Like Kyle Rittenhouse had one. That was shut down. The Freedom Convoy, the truckers, their GoFundMe was shut down. Andy Nago, the independent journalist who was assaulted, that was shut down. Anti-vax GoFundMe, that was shut down. This thing will go forever. And you know what? No one is going to question who's given money, how they're siphoning money, whether it's coming from a foreign country or someone who's already maxed out to Joe, because we still don't know who gave him $500,000 for some ridiculous second-grade artwork. I mean, this guy is an infection that won't go away.
He's a visionary. Yeah, unfortunately, he knows that the hard way. But Harold, there's obviously a struggle within the White House, and there are people who are very upset by this, and there are people who are defending the first son. I know where you would be on this because you're a smart person, you're a decent person, you're also rational, which is why you should run as Joe Biden's VP. Yeah, the Fox audience loves you. And obviously,
VP, they should flip it.
Well, they will. I mean, they have. They will at some point. But I think Harold. Are you with me, Harold?
There's a lot of questions there. I'll say this: you're kind. And second, this Hunter Biden thing. He has every right to launch a legal defense fund.
Yeah, so do these 5 conservatives.
Right, but Judge, so I'm not saying I support what he's trying to raise. I wouldn't give money to the legal defense fund, but people have every right. I wouldn't give money to the funds you raised either, the other people you raised. If he does not put some guardrails around this, and I saw one of the former spokesmen at the Justice Department saying earlier, you're going to have a problem. If you allow lobbyists and foreign governments and foreign people to give, foreigners to give, it's going to obviously create a lot of questions. So I hope they're watching this and they're concerned about this and they're going to implement something to ensure that it doesn't happen. Now, his argument around creating this is probably the fact that if my father were not president, maybe I wouldn't be facing the kind of scrutiny. I'm not saying that is a legitimate argument, but it's an argument, certainly a credible argument that can be made. I've said many times on the show, I don't pile on people when they're having problems. And I'm not saying that you are, Judge, but I don't.
I am. Because he created the problems.
He did.
Well, so we disagree there. But
He's no victim, Harold.
But I just don't pile on people. I'm saying if he had problems in his life.
Remember that weekend we played Twister?
I thought we were not going to talk about that. But I just don't pile on.
No, Harold doesn't. You know what, Harold, you're right.
Okay, by the way, the Twister weekend does not disqualify you from the vice presidency. Just know that. Just know that.
We're joking.
Call him now. Seriously.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.